Wow. It's a pleasure to be here, and I wanted to say that I'm also Estonian, so I know that there are quite a few in the audience. So how many of you have this card? At least 5 or 6. So that's good start. So I was asked here to tell the story, what has happened since last year in the domain of MyData. And yeah, how many of you were here last year? Let's ask that one. So I assume that maybe 80% of this room, and this is kind of the scope of this conference, that this first day here in Tallinn, this brings all the international guests, and then there will be more people joining in Helsinki. And yesterday, I think we broke like 700 in registrations. Okay. So yesterday we broke 700 in registrations, so that's quite a big. Last year we had 670 people, and here the room is full, so my estimate is like 200-300, I don't know. Anyways, so 1 year, is it a long time? My answer is, it depends. And I will take a little bit of time of actually going to the question, it depends on what. And I will pick the concept called base layering from Stuart Brand. If you don't know Stuart, he's a great thinker, and I'm a big fan of his. And he, for example, has been said to coin the term information wants to be free, and it also wants to be very expensive. So base layering, it came from the architecture world. So there was this thinking that what happens to the buildings after they are built? For some research, Stuart Brand started to think about it. And there is the picture from his book called How Buildings Learn, and that's from '94, the book. And the cover shows two buildings from, I think, New Orleans. And on the left side, it's 1857, and on the right side, the same buildings, 1993. So you can see that, in a way, they look similar, but also quite different. And the key insight in this base layering is that there are different parts of the buildings that change over time in different phases. So you can paint and repaint the building many times. Get another mic.
No. Just hold from here.
Okay. Well, so thanks. Well, the core structure of the building, that stays the same as long as the building stays. It can be decades or even hundreds of years. And then inside there are like electricity and plumbing that will be renewed like every couple of decades. And the furniture and stuff and the flowers, they flow in and out on the daily basis. And maybe whether there is a coffee shop or barber shop, that can change over a couple of years. So that's is 1 year long time for a building? It depends. For flowers, it's really long time, but for the core structure, it's not so long. And what is really the most stable is the site. This is a map of Helsinki. We will be going there tomorrow. So this map is from 1800, credits for the Museum of Helsinki City Museum. And to overlay the streets of today, 1800, today, you see, it's pretty similar, but the city is not similar. These are the, from my corner where I live in Helsinki, the buildings from 1908 and today. So the same streets go there, but the buildings are changed. So this goes to the, what it has to do with data. You can apply the same thinking to different ideas. So there are something that are more stable. Later, after the building book, Stuart Brand made another book, The Clock of Long Now, and he expanded the idea for social changes in general. And very bottom there is the nature, the biology and so forth, and the physics that stays same for a long time. And then there comes the culture, and above that there is a governance and infrastructure, and then commerce, and then some fashion trends that come and go. So it's said to be that young people are passionate about fashion, how they wear clothes and so on. Old people are so bored about fashion because they have seen it all over coming again many times. So I tried to, first of all, what's the point there? It's really, is it better to be on the top layers of fashion or the bottom layers of nature? And it again depends. So all the layers, they have their meanings. Like in the building, it's good to have some renovation done time to time, but it's also very good that the structure stays and it's not wearing off in a couple of decades. So generally, the top layers, those two change fast. They learn. There is the innovation. There comes the new stuff, and they get all the attention. People are so, okay, now there is this trending topic of MyData. Whoa, let's go to the conference. And that's really like coming new things every year, news break out and so forth. But the slow layers, they really remember, and there where is the real power and continuous things. So applying this a little bit to MyData, though, so now changing from Stuart Brand to Antti Poikola, so this is my thinking. I'm happy to talk about this with you. Starting from the bottom, I think the biological underpinnings of what we are doing here in the conference, they have to do with the personal and social and cultural identity of us people. I'm not very into that topic, but I know that many of you have been really thinking, contemplating on those. Then there comes the culture. Cultural norms of communication and sharing and power and hierarchy, etc. For example, the notion of privacy, it's not stable. It's not the same what we have now and what we had earlier. People used to, for most of the history, people have been sleeping in the same rooms and having sex with other people just watching over because there was no space. There was no walls in houses earlier. So privacy, as we know it now, it's rather new, maybe like couple of hundred years, the notion of privacy. And then comes the laws and regulations and technology, and then the commerce. We have here the PIMS, Personal Information Management Services, and then the GAFAs, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, other big and small companies. And then maybe on the fashion layer, there comes the adoption of people. It's like a snap of second when I decide as personally to take a new service and start using it. I change my habit. Of course, on the population level, it's a little bit slower, but then there are the trends and news breakouts and so forth. So in MyData, this is really not scientific study at all. I just contemplated a little bit. It's good viewpoint here, organizing the conference, and I asked around a couple of people what has happened in 1 year, and I started to fit to those layers. So I didn't find any biological or cultural changes in 1 year, starting from that. On the kind of top layer, there has been lots of news and more evidence and public discussion on the kind of harms or the downsides of current data economy. It's becoming more known topic. And there on the commerce, it's the GDPR panic. Companies are really, shit, it's coming. And also in this PIMS world, I think Daniel said that the number of startups in this field probably doubled over the year. And that might be, I haven't counted, but it's really the notion here. And real services are coming on the market. It's not only R&D, it's production services. Large firms and small firms are experimenting. And someone has said that it's now a lot more easier to explain the idea of MyData in the commercial world. And then on the infrastructure level, I think the distributed ledger technology, it's something that really came to this field over last year, and especially the self-sovereign identity. It's interesting. Let's go to the tech workshops to talk about it. And on the governance, there is this GDPR, e-privacy, free flow of data discussions going. So I'm running out of time, so thank you very much. Let's make next year even better.